All You Need to Know, the Bloomberg Quint podcast that prepares you for the day's business. Good morning. You're listening to the All You Need to Know podcast on Bloomberg Quint, and I'm Alex Matthew. Today is the 27th of May. The total number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in India has crossed the 1.45 lakh mark on Monday. As many as 60,490 people have recovered and 4,167 people have lost their lives. India's airline passengers continued to face refund issues even as fewer cancellations were reported on the second day of air travel after a gap of 2 months. Civil Aviation Minister Hardeep Puri tweeted that more than 41,000 air travellers were able to reach their destinations on Tuesday. Travel agents that Bloomberg Quint spoke with said that on Tuesday there were fewer cancellations by airlines than on Monday. The Supreme Court yesterday agreed to suo motu take up the issues faced by the poor, as many have set off for their homes on foot amid the COVID-19 pandemic. This just days after declining to interfere with the government's handling of the migrant crisis. Suo motu, for those of you not familiar with the legal definition, describes an act of authority taken without formal prompting from another party, usually by a judge. In this case, a 3-judge bench headed by Justice Ashok Bhushan directed all governments to make immediate free-of-cost arrangements for transport, food and shelter for those stranded because of the lockdown. The Indian economy is headed for its 4th recession since independence, which may also prove to be its worst. That's according to a report put out by CRISIL Research. CRISIL expects real gross domestic product to contract by 5% in FY21, that's the current financial year, in line with forecasts by several economists, including those at Goldman Sachs, Nomura and Kotak Institutional Equities. The first quarter will suffer a staggering 25% contraction, according to CRISIL. In addition, CRISIL forecasts a 10% permanent loss of GDP. Over the next 3 years, India is unlikely to move back to levels of GDP that would have been achieved under pre-COVID growth scenarios. In corporate news, Reliance Industries is working with banks on early preparations for an overseas listing of its digital and wireless business. That's a Bloomberg story. It's still early days, but RIL is preparing Jio platforms for an initial public offering outside of India in the next 12 to 24 months. The company hasn't decided on a listing venue or on the timeline and size of the issue. In the banking space, Kotak Mahindra Bank has launched an over 7,000 crore rupee qualified institutional placement of shares. The bank's board approved a floor price of 1,147.75 per share for the sale as against Tuesday's closing price of 1,152.45 rupees per share as per the laid out formula. In international markets, US stocks ended higher with the Dow gaining 2.2%, the S&P 500 1.2% and the Nasdaq 0.2%. In the Asia-Pacific region, it's a mixed start to trade with 2 of the 3 early risers starting in the green. And with that, it's over to Agam Vakil for the trade setup for the day in India. Morning Agam, how are we looking today?
Good morning Alex and good morning listeners. Well, these days it's been a lot more about stocks as compared to benchmark indices, and the SGX Nifty futures is indicating a marginally green opening this morning. But that's lots on the stocks front, and I'm going to start off with Reliance Industries, which is preparing Jio platforms for its initial public offering outside India, people in the know told Bloomberg News. The offer could happen in the next 12 to 24 months, and the company hasn't decided on the listing venue yet. Moving on, we have Kotak Mahindra Bank, which will be in focus on the back of a QIP, where the board has given its approval. The floor price has been set at 1,148 rupees per share, and this is at a 0.5% discount to yesterday's closing market price. The bank may consider its discretion of offering a discount of not more than 5% on the floor price. We have an update from Titan Company on the COVID-19 pandemic. It says after seeing virtually no sales from March 17th until the first week of May, the company is gradually opening stores and manufacturing following strict safety protocols. Currently, it has 43% stores open, and the company has low visibility on revenue, and customer demand sentiment is pointing to reduced discretionary spends. Do remember the company has already given us a Q4 update back in the first week of April. Moving on, we have Bharti Telecom as well, which said in a press release that it has raised 8,433 crores through accelerated book building offering of equity shares of Bharti Airtel. The sale proceeds to be fully utilized to repay the debt at Bharti Telecom and make the promoter holding company a debt-free one. In an interesting deal, we have Saudi agricultural and livestock investment acquiring nearly 30% of rice producer Dawat Foods from the India Agri Business Fund. The company is manufacturing and sourcing unit of India-based rice producer LT Foods, which is also listed on the stock exchange, reported by Bloomberg once again. Moving on to earnings, we have Deepak Nitrite, where revenues rose 4.7%, net profit rose 88%, and there was a steady expansion in margins coming in at nearly 25% against 19%, and margins improved due to lower raw material costs and power costs. But there was also the matter of deferred tax reversal of 22.5 crores in the current quarter, which aided profit numbers. It was also a steady quarter for Coromandel International, where revenues rose nearly 9% and profit rose 2.1 times at 234 crores ahead of expectations. But it was a weak quarter for Max Financial Services, where revenues declined 40% and profits dropped nearly 97% year on year. As was the case for VIP Industries, owing to the pandemic, we saw a revenue decline of 28% and profits declining 63%. Today, we watch out for Sun Pharma, Ujjivan Financial Services, United Spirits and Dabur India, among many who will be coming out with results today. Now, these are just some of the stocks we can watch out for as we move into trade today, but don't forget to go through our morning edition of All You Need to Know only on BloombergQuint.com.
Thanks, Agam. And as always, thank you all for listening in. This is Alex Matthews signing off. Have a great day.
I hope you enjoyed listening to All You Need to Know. Did you know that you could listen to the show on the IVM Podcast app? On the IVM Podcast app, along with this, we have a number of other shows which you think you'll enjoy. Listen to Cyrus Says with Cyrus Brocha as the host. Listen to Paisa Vaisa with Anupam Gupta. The Scene and the Unseen with Amit Verma, or Shunya One hosted by Shiladitya Mukhopadhyay and myself. Check out the IVM Podcast app to get more talk content that you will enjoy.